Hi everyone and welcome. As you can tell, if you're just joining me, I had a little glitch tonight. For some reason it wouldn't post to my Facebook page, so I hope you're all finding me over here. I see some of you are hopping on, so thank you so much for making the little jump over. So I'm glad that it's working here. So welcome, my name is Lillian and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Alberta, Canada. And I'm just excited to share a lot of different things with you tonight. And just while people are jumping on and getting on board, I just finished making a card this afternoon, and I made it with a color of cardstock that I almost never use, I realized. So I have a question for you. What is a color, maybe we should just say color of cardstock, that in your crafting you almost never use? I seldom use purples, but this was a different one, and I was surprised, and actually I was really happy with the card. And at the end tonight I will show you the card. So what is a color of cardstock that you realize you haven't used in a long time? And while you're entering that, I'm going to go down to my desktop. Okay, and here we go. Yes, Linda, a beautiful day. I spent some of it outside and I had to come in and get some cooler clothes because I was just too hot. So it doesn't get much better than the fall day we had. The sun was shining, the sky was blue, 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 and the leaves are so many different colors. It's wonderful. Oh, I'm seeing all kinds of colors. There we go. All righty, I had better make sure that we are live online. It seems like it's going to be a bit of an adventure with me and Facebook tonight. We'll see. Hopefully it all settles down and it'll be good. So there we go. Alrighty. So just a few things to remind you before we get going. World Card Making Day is this Saturday, October the 1st. And Stampin' Up! Is offering a free craft along event. I will have the information in my newsletter. I will be posting it on my Facebook page and in my group. But just if you would like to take part in this free event, you can use your own supplies. You could have ordered something if you wanted, but you don't have to. So that works out perfectly. And we had a wonderful Saturday, this last Saturday, with Stamping Staycation. And that was another example of just using your own supplies. So that was all perfect. So let's move that away. Also, a big reminder about this week's weekly deals. They go until September the 28th. We're going to use some of them tonight, but they are amazing. The festive foils are gorgeous, and the copper, if you like shiny and all that kind of thing, the matte dots I use all the time. Lots of pretty, pretty ribbons, pearls. This is that new trim that's sparkly, the gold leafing. If you've ever wanted to try it, maybe now's the time to try it because it really adds to your things. And there's the gold shimmer ribbon, and just, oh, there's so many good things. So check out the weekly deals. Either go to my website and check it out, or it gets posted every once in a while too. Now, we're nearing the end of September, which is really, really hard to believe. So that means a lot of the promotions are ending, including the Perfect Partner. So if you haven't got some of these dies and you wish you had, you know I've been in love with this little Yeti, time is running out. So contact me or your local demonstrator and get that ordered, or go right to my website. The other thing that's you need to order by the 10th of October, so sooner rather than, can't even talk, sooner rather than later, there's a wonderful Christmas kit of it coming. So get that ordered before the 10th of October, and that will be coming right to your doorstep. So there is that. Now, because lately I have been forgetting, I am going to announce who got last week's card. So we had the Dancing Yeti. So I used the dies. So for those of you who weren't with us, watch last week's video. It's right here. And congratulations, Deborah Oshvalda. So if Deborah, if you send me your mailing address, I'll pop this Yeti in the mail to you, and he'll be dancing some of our stuff that's going on. And I have Oh, you enjoyed Stamping Staycation? I'm so glad. We had a great time putting it on, and it's just always such a fun day, and so rewarding because we get to see so many good ideas. I should flip this. Well, I was going to say I'll keep that out. I have an announcement to make. I am just a couple of people away from reaching 1,000 on my YouTube channel, 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, pop on over there. I'll put the link afterwards, and you can subscribe and help me reach. My goal has been to reach 1,000 just because, and I would love to do it. I'm just that close. It impresses the grandchildren immensely. Okay, tonight I'm going to talk about paper that is like this. So it has a design on one side and then design on the other side, and what do you do with it? And if I was kind of thinking, well, what could I do? I wanted to show you can case your own cards. If you've got a card that you really like, you can case it. So I had earlier showed you, now this is just a portion of the paper, but it was designed like this. It went all the way along one side. I used this and paper, and I made this card, which I've shown you before, but it's a card that I really like, and a lot of people have wanted it or wanted to make it, and it's so simple. And I thought, well, why don't I case this card with this paper? So as you can tell, it's going to look quite different, but I'm not going to have to reinvent the wheel at all. So I'm going to put this to the side right here and talk to you a little bit about this. Now, if you don't have designer paper that looks like this, do you know what? You can take a piece of basic white and just stamp a design along, and you've made your own. So let's see here. Let's start with, first of all, we have to decide what colors we want to put for this little layer here and for the base. So I looked at my little cheat sheet here, and these are all the colors found in this paper. Look at all the choices. Isn't that just fun and happy? So I brought in a few. I didn't bring them all in because that would really boggle our mind. So we could either go with a black base or a white base. I figured we'd go that. And then do we want to put polished pink? Or do we want balmy blue? Do you see how it just changes like that? Or Mary Merlot? Or yes, Mary Merlot, because that's that color right here. So this is what I do when I'm designing a card. I bring in some scraps and I just start to layer, and I look at the combos there. So in the end, I made a decision for you, but you could easily have changed it up. But I made the decision partly because, well, you'll see down the roads. I see somebody saying white and polished pink. That looks really neat, doesn't it? I should hold the black up so that you can see. So there, it's white and polished pink. And there is black and polished pink. So I'll put the white behind it just so you get the contrast. So there we go. We're going to go and get started, and you're going to see what I chose. So here's this. Let me get this cleared away. So what I tend to do with cards, with cardstock or designer paper like this, I cut it in half. So I cut it right down the middle, and I find it easier to play with. Or yeah, I'll cut it right down the middle. I could have cut it at 5.5, and well, I'll do that then. I'll cut it at 5.5. No, I'm going to cut it at 6. I'm going to explain why here. And then we don't need this. So we've got this here. So why did I cut it there? Well, if I'm putting it on cardstock, I might just stamp my greeting here. Just cut this to fit. So I cut some off the bottom. Right? That if I was going to do that, I could easily stamp a greeting up here. If I wanted to use more down here, then I'm going to cut some off of there. So it depends how I'm going to use it. Or I might cut a little bit off of both. So let's see, where is our card? We need we need the designer paper to be 3 3/4 by 5. So 3 3/4 by 5. I want a little bit of the white at the top, so I'm going to cut some of that white off just so I have that, and I can use this on another piece or another design. And so I said by 5, so 3 3/4. So I'm going to do the 3 3/4 first, because then I can change my mind on this on another project. And now I need this by 5. So I'm going to cut this off the bottom, just like that. So I've got that, and I'm going to save that. I think I might be using it. So now I have got this piece right here. And then I cut a piece to go underneath, because remember, I'm casing this card, and I made it with a narrow border. Now you could make it with a wider border. There's enough room there, so don't be too worried. If you would prefer the wider border, you can easily do that. So now I'm going to put it just like that. Isn't this a happy card? It already makes me happy. And so I've got it like that. And then I'm going to bring in, now you said polished pink and white. Let's see here. Polished pink and basic white. Oh, that's a nice spring. I'm needing some birthday cards. So that's where I'm heading. So there's also basic black. So this is kind of distinguished looking, I think, or whatever. And this is just happy looking. So, yeah, I'll go with what you said, Rhonda. I had initially planned to go with the black, so this will be interesting. I'm going to give this a whirl, just like that. Bring this in. I just need to grab my ribbon. Well, I had it right here. So here is the polished pink ribbon, which is on sale right now with the weekly specials. So the measurements of this were 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So here we go. I'm going to wrap, as you can see here, I have the ribbon around here. So I'm just going to wrap the ribbon right about there. So use my ribbon scissors. Put that to the side. And I'm going to run a little bit of seal down the other side just to hold the ribbon in place. Seal or glue dots is perfect for that. Now I better make sure I've got it relatively straight. I could always use my grid, right? There we go, just like that. And I'll add the bow later. So I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm going to fasten it to the polished pink. Just like that. Make sure I'm in the camera range here. And because I use the liquid glue, I can move it about just like that. Now I could either glue it directly onto here, or I could put it on dimensionals. And so, you know, when you've got the option, let's use dimensionals. And I've got all these bits and pieces that I got off of some old ones, so I might as well use them and just put them around. There we go. And really, this is such a pretty card already. We just need to add the greeting, right? So here we go. Get those backings off. And we'll add it to this. Gorgeous. Just love it. Now what we did on here was we used a vellum circle to anchor the words, and we embossed the words here. So we're going to bring in the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we're going to bring in this vellum here. So we have lots of different kinds of vellum right now, and this vellum is from the, I'm going to show it to you afterwards, show you where, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but it has different kinds of vellum. This is all I've got of this piece. So it's got printing on it, it's got the map on it, and it's in white, and then they have the same thing in the black. So it's just fun vellum to use, and sometimes I kind of forget about it. So it's good to play with it. I'm working on a series of things for, well, I'll just say I'm working on a series right now and on vellum. So this fits right in with it. This card actually is kind of spearheaded. So I'm using the stylish shapes, the circles. I'm using, if you start at the outside 1, 2, it'd be the third one in. So that's the one I'm using. And I'm just going to cut out this vellum circle like that. One of the things that surprises me is how few people use vellum. So are you a vellum user or are you not? I love the look of vellum on things. I think it's really fun to use, and it adds a different look. So I quite like it, and then it surprises me that a lot of people don't use vellum. So let me know, do you use vellum or do you not? So we've got this circle here, and I just wanted to share something. What you can do with vellum, if you didn't want to do this, but if you wanted a softer look here, you could add just a layer of vellum, and you see how it just kind of softens that up? And it's the same on this as well. It just softens it. So if you have a designer paper you're having a hard time using, it's maybe a little too busy for you or a little too bright, add a little bit of vellum to it, and you'll have a brand new look, and I think you'll really like it. So we're going to put this here, but we're not going to attach it right now. We need some words. Now, I said that I was working on birthday cards, so I went to Charming Sentiments, and I think this is just perfect for birthday cards. This set has stuff for everything inside and out, but I'm going to do this. I was going to use a different one because I've used this with you before, but I just need this card. So you're getting it again. So Charming Sentiments, it's great on its own, or you can get this great die set that does like the fussy cutting around all of them. Plus it has candles and stars and hearts and fire shooting things. I can't talk, but it has all kinds of things in there. Tops for bows. So again, here's my little cheat sheet. So this not only makes it easy to find the right die, but it reminds me that there are all these other great things in there as well. So just something to be aware of. And so I want the die that matches these words. So how I use this is I bring in the die and I try it over top. Yep, that's the one I want. There we go. So we've got that. I've got stuff going everywhere here. Now, am I going to want the words? I think I'm going to want them on here. So I had initially planned to emboss with on black with doing white, but I think I could do white on here, couldn't I? So that's what I'll do. I'll bring in my embossing stuff. Use my embossing buddy. What a difference a new one is there. And I'm going to bring in the Versamark. Some of you ask why I keep an elastic around my Versamark and my Memento. I just find that keeps the lid nice and snug. Now this is a photopolymer stamp set, so I need something spongy. So this is a spongy thing that I've got here, and I will do stamp this. I'm going to cut it out so I don't have to worry about it being straight particularly. There we go. And we'll bring in some white embossing powder. For those of you new to embossing, this Versamark ink is a sticky ink. It makes like a watermark, but it also doesn't dry very fast. So you can shake this powder, this embossing powder on it. And when you do that, it looks, well, just like powder. But when you heat it up, it gets all shiny and 3D, and it is wonderful. So let's do that. I'm going to heat up my heat tool. Bring in my silicone mat so I don't melt anything too much. And then as it heats, you're going to see it turn shiny and 3D. See the difference now between what's been heated and melted and what hasn't? There, that looks good. And that cools right away. So I wouldn't touch it immediately, but you're pretty, you don't have to wait long. If you're like me and aren't the patientest person, that works perfectly for that. So now we're going to bring in our machine again and our plates and put everything down. I'm feeling a little discombobulated tonight. I was going to get everything set up, and then my husband was having computer issues and was on the phone for literally hours. And every few minutes they needed me, so I ended up not getting done what I thought I was going to get done this afternoon. But it's all good. There, so I've got it framed there. So now I'm just going to use some washi tape. And if you noticed, I put it on my hand a couple of times so it wasn't quite so sticky. You could use a Post-it note or painter's tape or whatever. And I use my tape over and over again till it doesn't work anymore. Just like that. We'll move this out of the way. And we can move this out of the way. And bring our card back in. So now we're going to go like this and see how the pink picks up that. I like that a lot. So I'm going to just glue this down. And I actually like to use seal when I'm sticking something to vellum. And there's a reason why I'm sticking it down first, and I'm going to explain here in a minute. Now, when I go to put it on my card, I know that if I keep my adhesive here where the pink is, it's not going to show. So let's bring in my dimensionals, and we'll put one up here and one down here so that we can at least catch some of this designer paper that isn't on the ribbon, because the ribbon kind of pushes it up otherwise. So it anchors it if you can catch some of the paper. And we're doing the same layout this way. I don't have to think, right? We're just going like that. Ooh, looking good. Now on this one here, there's a little bow. It's been a little squished along the way. So all I'm going to do is I could either slide it under and do what I call tie a cross piece. So just tie a knot, and then you can move it around to wherever you want. I actually will tie a bow. I'm going to be consistent with the card that I'm casing. This is going to be a little bit bigger bow, but it'll still work, I think. So just pretend you're tying your shoes. I know I say this all the time. And then you get a wonky looking bow. So hang on to that knot and then start to pull the ends. Most of us don't tie a perfect bow the very first try. We just play with it a bit and get it down to where we like it. And let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Bring in my ribbon scissors. Get that out of the way. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. If you're like me and you like it to look like the bow was tied there, even though we're doing the little cheater bow, and if you sit it on top, it's not going, this ribbon isn't going to squish in. Take your pick tool, the best tool in the world, I think. Take a glue dot. Say, okay, I'm going to put my ribbon here, so that's where I want it to squish in. Tuck your glue dot underneath. Give your ribbon a little squish. Now see how it comes together and it's held down with the glue dot right there. Now when you put this on, it will look like that bow was tied right there, and you didn't have to fuss with all of the placement of the bow and trying to get it wrapped around the designer paper and all of that. So we can go, I think we're going to make it go into this way. You can play with your placement of your bow too. So there we've got our basic card. Now we also in polished pink have the opal rounds. These come in all of the 2021, 2023 in colors. There's a full package there, you can see. So we can bring in the polished pink. We could even bring in some of these others. They're all just so pretty. So let's see, where shall we put it? Well, on this card here, I only used the one embellishment. So let's start with one. I think this one could handle a couple, you know, just, well, I like it right there. And there. So just like that, we have created the card that is cased from this card. Now, when we open this card up, ooh, look what I did with the scrap paper here. I've got scrap paper here. We can decorate the inside. So we can either put it down here or along the side, and it's not going to matter. So let's bring our adhesive in. And put it like that. And I've got some more vellum samples to show you, just a few, but you're going to want to hang in there. So there is that card, and it was totally cased from this card. So you've got two totally different looks with the same design. And you can see that you could make a whole set of cards for somebody with the way that designer paper is designed. So those are the two cards. Now I want to show you in our catalogs where some of this some of this vellum paper is found. So we have the paper I used tonight is called the Layering Designs, and it's found on page 139. So it is right here. So there. Then we have this vellum here, and this vellum is a lighter vellum. So this is fairly thick. This is a lighter vellum, but it's a whole package. Look at, you get some with designs already on it, and then you get some that is just plain blank, so you can do whatever you want with it. So there is, let me just see here. Look at all that. So much fun. So that's another set of vellum. Then the vellum, that's just our vellum cardstock, which I used on this card here. It is on page 140, so the next page, and it is right here. Now, it's really hard to take a picture of vellum because it's sheer, right? But it is gorgeous, and that is this paper here, and it is so, so nice to work with. And then in our mini catalog, we have even more vellum, and that is called the Snowflake Specialty Vellum. And as you know, I've just done a class with this vellum, and the cards are so pretty. And I did a few extra cards. So these were not part of the class, but it just gives you an idea of how this vellum works. So there's like the iridescent snowflakes and dots, and then the flocked, so the fuzzy velvety kind. And so here is one with the iridescent ones, just like that. And then this is with the flocked here. So you can see this is a fun fold. And so those are 2 more cards that were made with this that I showed. And then I did say I was going to share the card that I made earlier today with a color that I don't remember the last time I used it. So here is the card I made. It is again with vellum, but I use garden green. So almost never use it. And there is a little layer like this. So I'm getting this ready for a class. So I won't tell you all the how-tos of this, but I was pleased with how it turned out. And then I received a card from my upline, Karen Duke, and this one is so pretty with the sending the hello one like that. So just some cards to share with you. Remember, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and want some of these projects and products, contact me or look here at my website. And if you are ordering online and your order is less than $200, if you could use this hostess code, it really helps me out. So I am so glad that you joined me tonight, and make sure to say hi because this card will be going to one of you next week. So I'm seeing lots of love for some of those Christmas cards, and I'm so glad. I was having a lot of fun with them. So take care. Thank you for joining me, and bye-bye.